Hello, hello. My name is Ashlee and welcome to my channel. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's almost the weekend. Very excited for the weekend. Hello, hello. So we have a lot that we are going to talk about today. There's been so much going on per usual. Today's focus is basically going to be that the Democrats need to wake up, okay? Now, they have been fighting back, with the government shutdown, and I feel like there are some people who are fighting back, and we'll highlight that, but for the most part, I think they need to wake up, and we're gonna get into that, and we're gonna get into the people who I think need to wake up. But yes, before we get into it, please like and subscribe, turn on post notifications. I have lots of links to like Instagram, and I'm gonna try to start doing Substack and stuff like that. So all the links below. And yeah, let's get into it. All right. So yes, good evening, everyone. And then yeah, some intro beats would be great. I used to know how to make beats. I do not anymore. It's been a very long time. I used to use like FL Studios and stuff. And then it's your birthday coming up. Oh, yay, that's exciting. Well, I hope you have a happy birthday. I am very excited for the No Kings Day rally this weekend. I know there's a lot of like talk about it and stuff like that, but I'm excited. Nevertheless, I'm excited. I can't wait. And so let's get into all the things. Okay, so we are going to go over some headlines today, and yes, let's get into that. So, you will never forget FL Studio. I haven't used it in a really long time, but yeah, no, I went to the Nelly, like EI by Nelly. That's where I went to school for a little while. That's actually where most of my student loans come from, and that's where I learned how to like make beats and stuff like that. And yeah, it's been a minute. Okay, so let's get into some headlines. All right, so I haven't talked about this in a while, but recently there was a ceasefire deal that Trump made with Israel and Hamas. And since making that deal over the weekend, he has gotten tons of praise for it. He got a Time magazine cover for it, right? But since that happened, Israel has actually been breaking the ceasefire. They killed 5 people last night, I believe, with an airstrike, and then they killed 7 people before that. So is it a ceasefire? I don't know, and that's why I have like waited to talk about it, and that's why I'm not like giving Trump any praise. And I know a lot of Republicans are like, why aren't the Palestine people praising Trump? Because number one, I don't trust Trump. Number two, I don't trust Netanyahu or Israel, and I was afraid that this was going to happen, that they would make this deal and then Israel would continue to kill Palestinians, and it looks like that is the case. No, it hasn't been as dire not dire, but they haven't been like bombarding them as they typically do, but they are still killing Palestinians. So we'll see where this goes. I hope that it can be a real ceasefire. That's what I hope. Unfortunately, it's looking like Israel's trying to make an excuse to not have this ceasefire, because now they're saying that that Hamas hasn't given all of the bodies to them of the hostages, and they're making this excuse, but a lot of the bodies are probably under rubble, and so it's very it's a lot. There's a lot going on, and I'm just kind of waiting to see if this is going to stick. And as of right now, we'll see, but they are still killing Palestinians. And so I'm not going to like praise Trump or anything because I don't trust him, and I don't trust that there's a plan to build up Gaza after this. I think that Trump and Jared Kushner are going to try to use it as their own land and try to build there. So, I'm just very skeptical, but I'm happy that at least they have some reprieve right now. And that there are people going back and starting to build up their lives again. So I've seen videos of that, and that is beautiful. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But a lot of mainstream media has been giving Donald Trump tons of kudos for this, tons of praise for this, one of them being Time magazine. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to look at the Time magazine cover that he was on recently. Also, I did get the Brave browser, so it's first time using that today. All right, so this is actually really funny. So he was on Time magazine, and they basically said, oh, his triumph, right? And he was very upset by the picture. He was very, very upset by the picture. So we're going to look at the picture, then we're going to see what he said, because he was not at all happy about this. All right. So his neck, yes. So this is the picture that they used in Time magazine. This is what it looks like. So it says his triumph, and then it says Time. If you see, the M is behind his head, right? So it says Time and the M is behind his head. But it's it's a very bad picture. It's such a bad picture. And it was so bad that Trump was not very happy when they posted this picture. And so this is what he said on Truth Social. He said, Time magazine wrote a relatively good story about me, but the picture may be the worst of all time. They disappear my hair and then had something floating on top of my head that looked like a floating crown, but an extremely small one. Really weird. I've never liked taking pictures from underneath angles, but this is a super bad picture and deserves to be called out. What are they doing and why? Okay, so I thought that was really funny because, first of all, the crown on his head that he is talking about is just the letter M. It's just the letter M. That's all it is. It's Time with the letter M, and it's behind him. So the simple fact that he didn't realize that is actually insane. But him also saying that they disappeared his hair, bro, you were like super old and your hair is like blonde. I mean, it's like blondish. Like what do you mean they disappeared your hair? And then he's like, they wrote a good article about me, but that picture, why did they choose that picture? It's a horrible picture. And the part that's like the worst about it is his neck right here, right? And so Gavin Newsom has been very online lately, his press office, and this is what they posted. So they posted this picture of him in the Time magazine, and then they blurred out his neck because it's like, yeah. I've been thinking about how to say this because is it the nussy? Because it's the neck and then, so like nussy, I don't know. That's what it looks like. So I thought that was funny, but yes, so they're Time magazine and everyone is like preemptively giving Trump all this credit for the ceasefire, even though Israel has already violated the ceasefire. And if you look back at history, all the other ceasefires have not stuck. And so the fact that he's been getting so much praise and that the mainstream media has just like jumped on this bandwagon of like, we need to give him all the praise, is a little frustrating. And so if there's one thing Governor Newsom is good for these days, it's memes. So this meme is hilarious, and I really liked that they took him down a peg. That was nice. All right. So the next little headline that we're going to talk about is actually Kristi Noem. So Kristi Noem wants to put these videos up in airports, basically saying, hey, the TSA line is going to be really long and the TSA people are not getting paid. And this is all the Democrats' fault. That this whole government shutdown is the Democrats' fault, and that's why you're experiencing maybe a tough time at the airport. And so she wants to put these videos in every airport. And there are airports that are like, no, we're not going to do that. We are not doing that today. And also, they're not allowed to do it because it's against that Hatch Act, if I'm pretty sure. But yeah, anyway, so let's... I want to watch the video that she wanted to post in the airports, because it's really actually insane that she wants to do this. So we're going to watch that real quick. And I so far have not been getting any ads because I'm using the Brave browser. So thank you all. And saying that word is interesting. The nussy instead of his neck. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like everything's, yeah. It's a weird word, but I feel like other people have called it that before. Yes. All right. Hello. All right. So let me share my screen and then we can watch this video because I know it's going to be hilarious. All right.
The federal government has been shut down for more than 2 weeks, and the White House is using the levers of the federal government in effect to blame Democrats, and that is coming in fact to your TSA lines.
Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government, and because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay.
So the White House rolled out this video from DHS Secretary Kristi Noem to be played at airports, and several of those airports are refusing, including Portland.
Good.
To CNN, the operator of Portland International says, we did not consent to playing the video in its current form, as we believe the Hatch Act clearly prohibits use of public assets for political purposes and messaging.
And it's really crazy because they're I think Chicago and Portland, and I believe it was San Francisco that are like, no, we're not going to play this video. We're not going to play a video of you blaming the Democrats for the government shutdown. And it's crazy to me that especially Kristi Noem wants to play these in places like Portland or Chicago. I mean, they want to play them everywhere, but I feel like it's just I feel like they're trying to do an FU to all these Democrat cities, because it's not even just we're going to invade your city, we are going to brutalize your citizens, but we're also going to blame your senators and your Congress people for this shutdown. And so they're just putting salt on the wound, and of course they are, because that's what they do. But this is not the government shutdown, of course, is still going on. It's not the Democrats' fault. They are trying to fight for subsidies because they don't want the subsidies from the ACA to end. And basically what they're trying to do is they're fighting for these subsidies so people can still pay lower prices for healthcare. And if they don't fight for these, people's premiums are going to go up substantially. And so they are trying to fight for this, and the Republicans will not budge, and they are blaming the Democrats, but it doesn't seem like the general citizens are, it doesn't seem like regular normies are blaming the Democrats. It seems like they're blaming the Republicans right now for the government shutdown. So, yeah, low audio. Yeah, that's what I thought. And that's why I was like that. I tried to turn it up, but I think it was the video. Oh no, I had the desktop audio off because I'm stupid. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Rokana was, Yeah, no, I think that was my fault. I had the desktop. I'm sorry, that was my fault. I apologize. I was getting everything ready. That's why I was a little late because YouTube stopped working for a minute. Here, let's watch that again. I apologize. That was my fault. Okay.
The federal government has been shut
Is that
down
a little bit
for
better?
more than 2 weeks, and the
The
White
video
House
is
using
actually
the
just like
levers
really
of
low.
the federal government in effect to blame Democrats, and that is coming, in fact, to your TSA lines.
Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government, and because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees...
Here, let's try this video. This video might be better.
We will continue to do all that we can to avoid delays that will impact your travel. And our hope is that Democrats will soon recognize the importance of opening the government.
Airline pilots are very concerned by United States flight delays and cancellations amid the government shutdown. A spokesman for the American Airlines Pilots Association told the Washington Examiner thousands of pilots believe delays are going to get worse. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warned that the FAA's air traffic controllers were taking slightly more sick leave than normal as the 13,000 employees were forced to work without pay since October 1st.
Yeah, and do you know what they did? They actually started threatening them. They said if you call out sick, like, we'll fire you. Like, we will fire you. And to threaten people who you need, who there's already a shortage of employees of, is crazy, is actually insane. And I don't understand. No video. Oh my gosh. I am having the worst. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. I am so sorry, guys. I am like, okay. I need to get a monitor so I can see, like, I'm just doing it on my laptop, but I need to get a monitor so I can see chats on one side and the video on the other. Okay. I apologize. We'll start this over again because I am doing a bad job today. Okay.
We will continue to do all that we can to avoid delays that will impact your travel. And our hope is that Democrats will soon recognize the importance of opening the government.
Airline pilots are very concerned by United States flight delays and cancellations amid the government shutdown. A spokesman for the American Airlines Pilots Association told the Washington Examiner thousands of pilots believe delays are going to get worse. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warned that the FAA's air traffic controllers were taking slightly more sick leave than normal as the 13,000 employees were forced to work without pay since October 1st. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem addressed the government shutdown in a video played at security check lines in U.S. airports. Noem oversees the Transportation Security Administration and started appearing in videos at security checkpoints earlier in the year.
Yeah, so this isn't the first time they've done this. I remember when I was traveling earlier this year and I saw that video of her and I was like losing my mind. Well, why is she like, this is what I said last time I saw the video, is that they're just failed theater kids and they just want to be seen. They want people to see them. They want to play this like strong man part. And that's what they really want, is they want the attention, right? They want the notoriety. And this is like insane. Like having her on a video while you're waiting to go through the metal detectors is insane. To go through TSA is insane. And I will never understand why they put that there. And to me, it already looks like, to me, it feels like it is kind of like authoritarian, you know, because you have them having active propaganda as you're going through the TSA line. So I'm really happy that a lot of these airports are like, no way, we are not going to play this. So I'm really glad that a lot of them are not going to do that. A second monitor would make it so much easier. Yes, it would. I need to get one. Yeah, I really do need to get one. Sorry about that. I apologize. The start of this has been a little wonky, so I apologize. But the next little headline that we're going to talk about is actually Pete Hegseth. So he has been asking major news outlets. Okay, see this video is going to be this video is going to have a good volume. Okay, anyway, because it's very loud.
Down to the Pentagon, where
Yeah, I think those other videos were just like lower volume, and I don't know why. I don't know why those other videos were such low volume. But anyway, so Pete Hegseth, he is basically asking for like a loyalty pledge from the media. And so there's so many different media companies who are like, we are not going to do this. They want the media to be approved by them. And so there are like these new access rules that he wants them to get on board with, and even Fox News, and I believe it's like News Nation, and all of them are like, we're not going to do this. Like, we are not going to sign up for this because this is not freedom of press. We're not going to do this. So this is the
controversy is brewing over new press rules. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth ordered all reporters to get government approval before covering military matters and sign a form by today or lose access. Several major outlets refused, calling it an attack on press freedom.
Yes.
Hegseth defended the move, urging reporters to highlight President Trump's peace efforts in Gaza.
That's the other thing I'm worried about with them trying to put so much emphasis on being like, you need to praise him for the ceasefire in Gaza. You need to praise Trump for the ceasefire in Gaza. And I feel like this is going to keep happening even when the ceasefire is getting violated by Israel. I feel like they're going to be like, okay, well, how come you're not praising him? How come you're not praising him in the press? Why are you not praising him? These press briefings, all like any kind of press that Trump does they've been sucking up to him this whole entire time. Like, the people who talk, the only people that he lets talk are people that he likes from like Fox News or like the Mike Lindell show or whatever else. If it's ABC or CNN or whatever, he literally starts the question. Like, they will be asking a question and he will say, where are you from? And if they say ABC or CNN, he's like, well, I don't want to talk to you. I'm not talking to you. And so the press that they already have there is very slanted towards Trump and towards their administration. And so I feel like I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is making it even worse, because now you're like, well, you're not going to get access to to this information unless you sign this pledge and we look at it and make sure what you're saying is approved. That's ridiculous. And they're trying to control. Well, I mean, they're essentially trying to erode freedom of speech. It's already happening. But now they're trying to control the press, which is also really bad, because if we don't have freedom of speech and they keep eroding our freedom of speech, and then now they're even going after press, and a lot of press has already bent the knee to them, and so the fact that they feel like they need to have even more fealty to them is crazy. But this is what they're doing. They're trying to crack down. Yeah, I know, Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth, I know. Man, don't ask me. I don't know what's going on today. I feel better. I'm not sick anymore. I don't know what's going on with me today. I'm just like, I do not have it together today. I apologize. I'm trying. Oh God. Okay. I know his name. I know it's Pete Hegseth. All right. Here we go.
I think that the Pentagon press corps of all press corps would be front and center across the board on wanting to give credit to the president for forging this kind of peace, and instead what they want to talk about is a policy about them, which simply says maybe the policy should look like the White House or other military installations where you have to wear a badge that identifies that you're press.
What? What did that have to do with praising him for Gaza? That was weird.
Well, media outlets who have refused to agree to government pre-approval include ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, the New York Times, as well as Fox News and Newsmax. Conservative outlet One America News is the only known group to agree to the new rules so far.
Oh, of course they are. But even Newsmax, Newsmax was like, nah, we're not going to sign that. Even Newsmax. Oh my God. But of course, One America News, OAN, of course, they're like, sure, sure, we'll sign it. And I don't understand. Like, I feel like Newsmax and Fox News are only doing this to like look like they still care about like press freedom, you know, because they know some Republicans will get upset with this, but. But I'm like, you guys already lie and use their talking points every day. You already lie and use you lie every single day, and you cover for them every day and use their talking points every day. So how is this any different? Like, this isn't any different. But you know, I guess they're trying to save face because this is getting increasingly more authoritarian, and so they're like, I guess we should still act like we care about free speech and free press, even though I don't think they do.
We're joined now by Vice President J.D.
Okay,
Vance.
that's the next one. Wait. Okay. But yes, and so things are getting increasingly bad when it comes to free speech and free press. But something that happened recently that actually gave me a lot of, not hope. I wouldn't say a lot of hope, but at least a little, like, it was nice to see some type of media pushing back even just like a little bit, because I feel like the media in America has not been pushing back whatsoever, and they have been continuing to bend the knee and use the talking points and not really push back when people like JD Vance lie. But the other day he was on ABC, JD Vance was on ABC, and George Stephanopoulos, actually, I think that's how you say his name, right? Stephanopoulos, he actually like cut him off and made sure like he pushed back on him, and then when JD Vance was going to speak back, he cut him off, and I thought that was amazing. And so I wanted to watch this. I don't know if I'm going to watch the whole thing, but I do want to watch part of it. So
question is, did he accept $50,000? Honestly, George, I don't.
Okay, so this is the part where, so they're talking about, all right, so let's talk. Okay, so they're talking about Tom Homan. So Tom Homan got $50,000 in a kava bag given to him by the FBI, and he was caught. It's on video, and all the Republicans are like, it doesn't matter. Who cares? They were asking Pam Bondi in Congress where that money is, if he kept that money, what happened to that money. And she was like, I don't know why you guys keep going after Tom Homan. He's doing amazing. And they kept pressing her, and eventually she just didn't answer because there is video evidence of him taking this money, and we don't know where that money is. So this is what George is asking JD Vance right now, and he also doesn't have a good answer to this. So, yeah.
On an audio tape in September 2024, an FBI surveillance tape, accepting $50,000 in cash. Did he keep that money?
Accepting $50,000 for doing what, George? I'm not even sure I understand the question. Is it illegal to take a payment for doing services? The FBI has not prosecuted him. I've never seen any evidence that he's engaged in criminal wrongdoing. Nobody has accused Tom of violating a crime, even the far left media like yourself. So I'm actually not sure what the precise question is. Did he accept $50,000? Honestly, George, I don't know the answer to that question.
He did.
What I do know...
No, he did. There's video evidence. There is video evidence of him taking the $50,000. There is video evidence. And so every time the Republicans go, well, I don't know. Who knows? They're just trying to go after Tom Homan. No. No.
Is that he didn't violate a crime.
So you don't, what was caught on the tape, you're saying right now you don't know whether or not he kept that money?
I don't know what tape you're referring to, George. I saw media reports that Tom Homan accepted a bribe. There's no evidence of that. And here's,
yes,
George,
there
why
is.
Fewer and fewer people watch your program and why you're losing credibility. Because you're talking for now 5 minutes with the Vice President of the United States about this story regarding Tom Homan, a story that I've read about, but I don't even know the video that you're talking about.
Also, I I think it's insane that the like, they get away with so much. Like, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Pam Bondi, all these people, they get away with so much. And they're like, well, I don't know. I didn't see it. I don't know. You're the vice president, and there is a video of Tom Homan taking a bribe, and you're like, well, I haven't seen it. I don't know. Isn't it your job to know? Isn't it your job to be up to speed on things like this? Like, they all the time, they're just like, well, I don't know. You'll have to talk to this person. They always do this. And yet, if the shoe was on the other foot, they think that Biden was like, because he used an auto pen, that everything he did is fake and nothing matters of what he did, and everything he did should be null and void because he used an auto pen. And you're sitting here like, I don't know. Did he take the bribe? I don't know. I didn't see. What do you know? Like, what do you know about? What can you be held accountable for? It's just insane. It's gosh, it bothers me.
Meanwhile, low-income women can't get food because the Democrats and Chuck Schumer have shut down the government. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to pay our troops because Chuck Schumer has shut down the government. You are focused on a bogus story. You're insinuating criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down. Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
But this is something I've never seen.
They didn't show the part. Why did they take it out? They took it out. Oh my gosh. So literally at the very end, I don't know why they took it out, but they took it out. But at the very end, he was like, it's not a left-wing rabbit hole. Goodbye. And then JD Vance tried to push back, and they went to commercial. Oh my God, why did they take it out? They must have, okay, well, this is probably why they took it out. So this is Donald Trump this is how Fox News is responding to that. But yeah. Oh my gosh. How do you know it's bogus if you didn't see it? Producers need to have that video footage of Tom ready for that answer. They really should actually, like, they really, really should. They really should. I don't know why they don't, because if they put it in their face and they're like, okay, you say you don't know, here's the audio, like, what are they going to do then? I feel like they need to do that. Wasn't there someone that did that recently that had like the video footage of them saying or doing whatever they were doing to like catch them, and the Republican didn't know how to respond? I forget, but that happened a couple weeks ago. But that's what they need to start doing, and like, they need to start holding them accountable and having the receipts to hold them accountable, because it's getting ridiculous how much they can just get away with and how much they can just lie and say whatever they want. And most of these media companies, mainstream media, do not push back, like, at all. And so that's why it was nice to see some kind of pushback, like even just a little bit, when he was like, you're going down a left-wing rabbit hole. He's like, no, not a left-wing rabbit hole. It's actually audio tape from the FBI, but sure, like, I don't know. But this is Donald Trump's response to that interview.
But this is something I've never seen anything like it. The media covered it very fairly, and even the fake news, of which we have a lot, they actually covered it fairly for a change. And I appreciated that. We have to get back to that. It's so important. But I just want to say it's a pleasure to be with you, and we're going to have lunch, and we'll take a couple of questions from the news, and I'm sure they'll be extremely non-hostile and friendly. Like JD went through a very friendly interview with George Slobodanopoulos, who was nice enough to pay me $16 million the last time we came. He had to pay $16 million to me, which was good. It was worth having somebody lie. If you get $16 million, that's good. But JD had a very nasty person interviewing him, and we can't let that happen. Just as inappropriate to cut off a highly respected vice president of the United States mid-sentence. It was I guess it's one way to win an argument. That was the only way he was going to win the argument. So it was pretty inappropriate. I want to tell you that.
Hey, Sean
It was not inappropriate, and it was not inappropriate. He was lying, and so he cut him off because he was obviously lying. I think they need to do that more. I think when they're lying, you either need to cut them off and be like, okay, we're not going to listen to these lies anymore, or you push back, or you have those receipts. You have those receipts right there, so they can't be like, well, I don't know, because they do that all the time. They're like, well, I didn't see that. They do that with Donald Trump all the time when he makes these like AI videos or the tweets he makes. They're always like, well, I didn't see it. I didn't see the tweet. I didn't see the AI video. Okay, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It exists. It's real. So what is your opinion? And they're just like, well, I don't know. I said they just get away with everything. It's truly insane. It is truly insane. So I wanted to talk about this because I do think that there has been a show that has been very good at pushing back on politicians, and that is the I've Had It ladies. I love them very much, and so of course we're gonna watch their some of their interview with Cory Booker because that was really fun. Let's see. They just pretend they don't have enough information to state anything conclusive about the video just played to them. Yeah, that's true. They'll just be like, well, I don't know about that. Yeah, they do that all the time, and it's very frustrating because I feel like because Fox News and because OAN and because all these conservative outlets don't hold them to account, even when Democrats like try a little bit to, it still doesn't really work because the conservative outlets don't hold them to account and don't actually make them answer questions, and are always like softballing with them. And so that's why I do think it's frustrating that nothing ever sticks on them, you know? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I was just reading the chat. Oh, you have a monitor? Yeah, I might take you up on that because I do need one. I was looking for one when I got my new laptop, but they're a little pricey. Okay, so yes, Jen and Pumps are the best. I love them so much. I love that they're going viral. So the I've Had It ladies have had many viral moments. Recently, there have been one. I remember the one with Rob Emanuel when Jen went off on him for trying to throw trans people under a bus, and I was very excited about that. And then they had one with another person running, but I don't remember his name. And he would not commit to not taking APAC money, and so she got upset with him about that. And I just think that they're really great. And I feel like they are a very good example of continuing to push back and not letting people get away with not answering the question. And she also had a few receipts when she was talking to him too. So we're gonna watch part of this because it's honestly really great. And she did such a good job. Oh yeah, I'll be at the protest. Okay, sounds good. I'll be at the No Kings protest. Oh man, I'll talk about it later, but I kind of want to go live, but I don't know if that's a good idea or not. But okay, let's watch this. Oop.
Democratic opposition is just not getting it. There are votes that you've made that were heartbreaking to me, like the vote for Kushner. That really pissed me off because I feel like this administration, it's not, are they fascist? They are fascist. It's not, we're on the precipice of fascism. We have Pritzker, Texas is sending troops to Illinois. And I feel like the opposition needs to be fuck no across the board. We're not giving you a centimeter. And I think there's been a lot of capitulation. I think there's been a lot of Neville Chamberlain type appeasement from Democratic leadership. And you're one of them that's kind of been disappointing to me because we podcasted before. They're serious about Project 2025. They're going to do all this shit. and they're doing every single bit of it. So what do you think? What do you have to say about the capitulation that you participated in and where the Democratic...
Look at his face. He's like smirking. I used to actually really like Cory Booker. And this was a while ago, but I actually used to like him because he is like one of the only people in Congress that has like tried to do anything about factory farming. And, so that's why I used to like him, right? As I've learned, over the years, as I've learned more about him, I have come to actually really, I don't like him at all. I can't stand Cory Booker. I get so frustrated with him all the time. And I remember when and she's going to bring it up, but I remember when he did the like 24-hour speech, and I remember just not being impressed. And I remember people being like, you guys, you asked them to do something, they're doing something. And I was like, what is he doing? I mean, he broke a record, and I think that's great. And he broke the record of a really racist guy. So great, wonderful. But, like, what was he doing? He wasn't doing anything. They were like, oh, he's filibustering. There was no bill. He was filibustering. He could have filibustered that budget bill, and we would be in a different position today. Maybe the government wouldn't be shut down today. But he didn't, and they didn't. And so I love how he's like smirking at her there as if like he isn't capitulating, as if he did vote for Jared Kushner. He did do all these things. So why are you sitting here so smug? It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. No, she's holding you accountable. And instead of being smug and sitting there and being like, okay, take the criticism and do better.
Party is right now.
Well, first of all, I would say very pointedly that one of the things I dislike about the Democratic Party is that we do a circular firing squad all the time. Their party, they disagree. There's a wild disagreements in the Republican tent, and yet they don't shoot at each other. And we have a really good way of holding up these purity tests that if I agree with you on 95%.
That's such bullshit. That is such bullshit. They fire at each other all the time. Trump has sent so many people out to pasture. So many people that he calls rhinos. Liz Cheney can tell you that they have the firing squad as well. It's not a purity test. It's are we in this fight, and are we being beholden to corporations and corporate interests, or were we really the party of the working class? And that...
Yes, and this is, okay, I am so glad she called him out and she said that's bullshit, because it is bullshit. I'm sorry, but conservatives or like middle of the ground Democrats do this every time. Anytime someone criticizes them on a stance, or anytime someone says, hey, like, you voting for Jared Kushner, you Kushner, I don't think it was Jared Kushner or somebody else. But you voting for Trump appointees, you sitting here and taking a picture with Benjamin Netanyahu, you taking AIPAC money, you need to reconsider that. Like, you are a part of the capitulation. You are a part of the problem. And instead of understanding why people would think that and changing your actions, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so done with these purity tests. The left just wants to have purity tests. No, we just need to have standards. We need to have standards because for so long, the Democrats have been taking money from all these different places, and that has been that is what has caused all of these horrible policy decisions. That is what has caused this neoliberal hell that we're in right now. That we've been in, and now that is turning into authoritarianism, that is turning into fascism, because capitalism inevitably turns into this. But they, like, the Democrats, and this is something that, like, I really get frustrated with, because I know a lot of like Democratic influencers or like center libs or something like that. Like, I don't want to sit here and like, tear up the party or circular fire squad. Like, I don't want to do that. But also, to get out of what we're in right now, to get out of the place we're in right now, neo-lib excuses and neo-lib policies are not going to cut it. They're not going to cut it. You taking AIPAC money is not going to cut it. We need need different. We need something so incredibly different than people like Cory Booker or like Janet Mills that we're going to talk about soon. Like, we need people who are actually going to fight back tooth and nail, and who are not going to sit here and make excuses because they get criticized for their policies or they get criticized for the money that they take.
That's what I think.
Two things I'll say. First of all,
he's mad.
If everybody in your coalition,
you can see he's mad. He's mad because he didn't think that she was going to fight back. And I think the Democrats need that's why my title is the Democrats need to wake up, because they do need to wake up. They need to stop playing this game where they're like, oh, well, if I just, get along, I forgot the phrase. But if I just try to lay low and fight back where I can and do these, basically publicity stunts instead of actually fighting, then soon we'll get out of this, and I can just keep taking the corporate PAC money. I can just keep taking the AIPAC money, and soon we'll get out of this and everything will be fine. And that's not what's happening. That's not what is happening. And so it's just very frustrating. They need to wake up, and they need to realize that their base is not with them right now. They is not with them. And if you're not going to get in line, with the base, then people are not going to be with you. People are going to push back on you. People are going to protest you, and you're just going to have to deal with it. And you need to stop sitting here and getting mad at people calling you out. They called you out, and she's right. And you could tell he's mad because he's not used to this. And I think more Democrats need to be called out. I think all the people who are complaining about protesting Democrats or calling out Democrats need to stop, because we need to call them out. They are a part of the reason we are here. They bear some blame in getting us to the point that we are at today. And so they need to be called out.
Agrees with you on everything. Your coalition's not big enough. If
It's a cult.
If we don't have disagreements, then we're talking in an echo chamber. Thank God I sit in a caucus with people. I couldn't win in some of my colleague states, perhaps, but we have lots of different agreements, but we are united in the fight against Trump. And I'll say number two, which is really important, is that, we feel the existential urgency. And even though we don't agree on everything, I'm in the trenches with some of the best fighters I have. From veterans like Mark Kelly and Tammy Duckworth, who have, I know Mark's voted on some people I didn't vote for. So we may not be absolutist, but the fighters that I'm in the trench with right now, the sacrifices that they're making for this fight is pretty tremendous. So I have disagreements with a lot of people. Look, I'm one of a handful of people that don't take corporate PAC money. I don't understand my Democratic
What
Party.
about AIPAC money? You take AIPAC money, don't you?
A minuscule percentage of my resources come from
I read it's like 800,000.
Yeah, but that's a lifetime number of raising tens of millions.
See, and that's why I like that she had that number. She had that number ready, because he was like, oh, it's not a lot. It's like 1%. I heard it was 800,000. It's so much that you're gonna go that you went to go speak with Benjamin Netanyahu when he was there. It's so much, but yet you had the knowledge, you had the self-awareness to hide yourself in that picture, because deep down you shouldn't be taking AIPAC money. Deep down this is unpopular, and people don't want this. But instead of coming to that conclusion and being like, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop taking it, you are still, and he's going to talk about it later, are still defending Israel. Still. You have the self-awareness to hide yourself in a picture with Benjamin Netanyahu, and you're still defending Israel. You're still why is everybody worried about Israel? You're still saying that. It's honestly, it's crazy. It's crazy. And there's so many things that have happened over the last few weeks that have just proved to me that the Democrats have learned nothing from losing the election. They have learned absolutely nothing. And it's very frustrating, but I love that I've had it, ladies. They're amazing. Let's keep watching this, because they're like, no, I'm not going to put up with this bullshit. I'm not.
Let me give you the right stat. The majority of my money comes from small dollar contributions. By last report, I think 76% of it came from people that gave $25 or less. So this This to me is about, again, we could pick at each other, or we could do what we need to be doing right now, is joining in a chorus of conviction to condemn it. And again, I'm a child of civil rights activists. You think Malcolm X and Martin Luther King agreed on everything? No. Do you think Fred Shuttle, in fact,
I hate that he did that. I hate that he did that so much. When he invoked Malcolm X's name and Martin Luther King's name, that bothered me so much, because you know what they were against? They were against imperialism. That's what they were against. They were against imperialism. And Malcolm X was against Israel. I know that there are some quotes of Martin Luther King like supporting Israel, but I know his family members have come out and said like he would not have supported this. There's no way. But to invoke their names when you are literally like, you have been supporting this genocide, you have literally been in pictures with Benjamin Netanyahu, you have been taking money from AIPAC, and you also take, I think he takes money from like pharmaceutical companies. He also has been voting for Trump's appointees, and his votes are not great when it comes to shit like this. And so it's very frustrating that you're going to sit here and you're going to say that you're like, well, my parents were civil rights leaders. Okay, then why don't you talk to them about this? Why don't you talk to them about this? I don't know if they're still alive, but like, why do you have such a shitty take on this? Then why are you taking money from a PAC that is trying to whitewash a genocide? It doesn't really make any sense, does it? No, it doesn't.
Baker had lots of criticisms about King, but when it came to the fight, they joined together and created a movement that was successful. And that's really what my focus is. And as the only person in the caucus that lives in a low-income Black and brown neighborhood below the poverty line, I still remember when some progressives from the suburbs came down to protest me, and they were literally chased away by my neighbors.
See, and this is like, this is also, sorry, I keep pausing a lot. I apologize. But this is something that also makes me mad, because he does this later with Israel. He's like, well, why is everyone picking on Israel? Why aren't we talking about Congo? Why aren't we talking about Sudan? And one, I hate when people say that, like, why aren't we talking about this, or why aren't we talking about that? Because I have seen people talk about Sudan, and I have seen people talk about Congo. I have seen protests that happen. And to me, when you say that, I'm thinking, well, okay, then are you talking about it? Because obviously, if you're not seeing that happen, if you're not seeing these protests, if you don't know that they're going on, then you're not talking about it, and you're not engaging with that conversation, and you're not a part of that conversation. And so why are you blaming everybody else and yet still trying to whitewash a genocide? But then it's also this whole blaming progressives. He's saying the progressives from the suburbs came out and wanted to protest me. And I feel like this is why I get so frustrated, because everything is a big tent. Everything is, we can disagree and still fight. Everything is like, we can come together, kumbaya, until you're a leftist who is trying to say, hey, maybe you should rethink taking AIPAC money. And then it's like, well, you leftists, you progressives, you wanna protest me. Why don't you go do this instead? Why aren't you talking about this instead? Why are you bothering me? So it's a big tent, and we all can work together until it comes to leftists. It's a big tent, and we can all work together until you tell me to be anti-genocide. Like, it's it's a big tent until you're a leftist. If you're a leftist, and especially if you're pro-Palestine, then I don't know if our big tent is going to cover you. Yeah.
Because we are in an urgency, every day I see it. We are in an urgency where real people are getting hurt. When I go up and down in New Jersey, they don't care about the fact that I took 1% of my money from some group. They care about, what are you doing to restore my health care?
No, I think they do.
What do you?
I think people do care about you taking AIPAC money, actually. I think a lot of people do care. And I think the more Democrats act like it's not a big deal, the more they're going to realize that if they take AIPAC money, they're not going to get, people aren't going to vote for them. People aren't going to, and that's just the truth. That's just the truth. And of course, I'm being like, yeah, the Democrats are going to learn the hard way, but they don't learn. They haven't learned from the presidential race. They still haven't learned. There are people who are still blaming pro-Palestinian protesters and people on the left. Still. They're still blaming them. And so they haven't learned a single thing from the presidential election. They keep blaming the left. And it's like, if you would have just, if they would have just listened and had a pro-Palestinian speaker at the DNC, I'm not saying that would have fixed everything, but it definitely would have made things different. It definitely would have made things different, but they refuse. They refuse.
Doing to fight for my fact that I can't make rent. And in my caucus right now, we're standing up and fighting for those things and not capitulating, as you said, to Donald Trump's attempts to deny 22 million Americans health care, to see healthcare costs double for lots of them.
Well, I think the base feels like right now, and I know that you're in the Beltway, but I think the Democratic base feels like there is a disconnect. Like, we hear you, like when you did your 25-hour speech, I was like, go, Cory, I love this. That is amazing. And then there's a photo shoot with you with Benjamin Netanyahu. And I was just like, what in the actual fuck? Like, how can he do that? It was heartbreaking. I felt betrayed.
Yeah.
And that is, and that, hang on. And that doesn't just happen in an echo chamber. It's important when there are Democrats like you, where the base, we should make each other better. We need to evolve. And I love that you come on here. We need to have these conversations. It's not a purity test. It's, we want credible messengers, because when we are down the middle and beholden to corporate interests, then we leave this vacuum, and that's how fascism has flourished. And so for myself and a lot of our listeners, when I saw the picture with Benjamin Netanyahu, I felt like it diminished your 25 hours. That's how it felt to me.
So a few things. One is, I work in the Beltway. I live in the Central Ward in Newark, New Jersey.
It's so funny because he's always so like bubbly, I feel like, and he's very his personality is always just very like outgoing and bubbly and happy go lucky. And so it's funny watching this. It's funny watching this because you can tell that like he's mad, and you can tell that he's frustrated, and so he's just being very like almost like passive aggressive, and is like, well, let me tell you, because I think a lot of Democrats are not used to getting this kind of pushback. And are not, and the more they're getting it from places that they think they'll be welcome and they think they'll get like softball interviews, the more pushback they get. I feel like I'm realizing that they don't know how to handle it. Like they don't know how to handle their base pushing back on them. They just don't. Because they're so, I think it's like they have this like aloofness of like, I know better than you, but their whole, like the whole base, they're so like, almost the entire Democrat base is like, listen, we don't want you to take AIPAC money. We're like begging you to stop. And instead of listening, they're just getting like smug, and it's crazy.
Streets that a lot of folks tell folks, why would you demean and degrade my communities? I keep a little picture here of the first place I represented in 28 years old, which is a Black community that's struggling. And we've transformed our schools, our supermarkets, new parks, urban farms, and the like. And the wonderful thing about those folks that I serve is that none of them question where I stand and how long, for more than a quarter of a century, have I stood with the people in their neighborhoods. Number two, so I may work in the Beltway, but I know where I came from and I know who got me here. And it's the struggling people that our party has done a pretty shitty job for, to be honest with you.
I agree.
No, I agree. And I agree with him. And I think all those things are great. But I also think I do think his base cares about him taking AIPAC money. I think a lot of people care about them taking AIPAC money. And I think the more they try to talk down to people who criticize them about that, I think the worse it's going to get for them. I think the more people are going to be like, yeah, no, F you. I'm done with this bullshit. Like, I'm done with being talked down to. I'm done with being told that this doesn't matter when it does. And your base does care. And I think it's even larger than just like the AIPAC money. I think it's also very symbolic of like, the base has been telling the Democrats we want these things for so long, and we want all these different things, and yet they keep not listening, and they keep they keep just acting like they know best, and they don't, obviously, because their numbers are in the toilet. So yeah.
Okay, number two, when you say things like Kushner this and whatever, I remember the people who actually, when the Democratic Party was doing things like passing crime bills that put black people like me, when I was in my 20s and stopped by the police all the time, behind bars, the Democratic Party failed and fueled mass incarceration. And so the people that were there for me 30 years ago, doing prisoner reentry programs, getting people jobs and housing, I'm sorry. People like Kushner, who was there 30 years ago fighting for those fights, I'm not going to forget that they fought for black people when other people seem to be gung-ho with, hold on, let me
wait, is this the first CARE Act? What was that act called that you passed?
Well, that was only 2 years ago, the First Step Act.
What was that? Okay, I've read about that. That's really good. Yes, it's excellent.
No, I think that's really good. And I'm not, listen, this is what I don't like, because I feel like I feel like he's using this as like a scapegoat, as a scapegoat to not actually take in the criticism and change his actions. Because I understand that that he might have it's great. I'm so glad that, he was with you back then and that he was fighting for this back then. I'm glad. But right now we are in a place when I think they shouldn't have voted for anybody. They shouldn't have voted for any appointee that Trump put up. None of them. They should have none of them should have voted for them. And I think that, and this is another reason why I wanted to talk about this today. I wanted to talk about the Democrats waking up today, because I think they need to get so much more cutthroat. They need to stop playing these nicety games. They need to stop being like, well, way back when they were on my side. This is not that time anymore. We are not in that era anymore. We are in an era where they are literally saying and doing whatever they want. Whatever they want. They don't care. They don't listen to court rulings. The Supreme, and even if they do listen to court rulings, they're just going to take it to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court will do their bidding. So I just think we've come so far past the time of the niceties and they were my friend here and they did this for me there. It doesn't matter anymore. If they are part of the Trump administration, or if they want to be a part of the Trump administration, you need to not vote for them. You need to not sit here and be like, well, we just need to be, nice to each other. No. Like, I just think it's a scapegoat. It's a scapegoat to try to not have accountability for capitulation. I do think all the people who voted for his appointees, all the people who voted for them, I think did capitulate. I think, maybe if they were voting for them now, maybe it would be a little bit different, but I'm not sure because they don't seem to want to get cutthroat at all. And they keep getting run over by the Republicans over and over and over again, and nothing changes.
And I'm sorry, I have to work across the aisle, and Charlie Kushner was, but for him, it wouldn't have gotten done.
Sorry.
So when I go home, people do know people that got out of prison because of the First Step Act, and they knew the bipartisan coalition. Third, I'm sorry. I have real problems with Benjamin Netanyahu. Outrageous things that he's doing. The way you fight for those things is you sit down face to face with somebody and you fight with them. I'm not going to be outside of the room screaming. I want to look him in the eye, like me, Amy Klobuchar, and a whole bunch of other people did, and talk to him about humanitarian aid. And if people want to criticize me for it, then go ahead. But I'm leading in the Senate on West Bank crises right now, from their attempts to annex it or illegal settlements. I lead the legislation to sanction the people that are doing that. I can stand strong on my principles and still work to end these things. And I don't mind taking criticism, from folks that don't necessarily agree with my tactics. But we on this podcast right now, we share the same aim. Ceasefire now, humanitarian aid now, return the hostages now. And I'm going to work.
I think this was before. I think they recorded this before the ceasefire.
War criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu. Do you think he's a war criminal?
Again, these are questions that a lot of people think are the important litmus tests that are loaded and hot. My urgency is to be an effective leader in bringing an end to this crisis. And I get these questions all the time that, to me, undermine my urgency.
I think the thing that Democrats get so frustrated with, where we are right now, where you see like the Zoran Mamdanis and the Graham Plattners rise up, because they can go on podcasts and you can say, do you think Benjamin Netanyahu's a war criminal? And they just say, yes. And that's the end of it. It's not all of the rhetoric answering. It's like what happens to Democratic politicians, they go
through. Do you see his face? Do you see his face? This is what is so frustrating about it. He's like, I don't like Netanyahu. He's done horrible things. I want to get humanitarian aid in, but I can't call him a war criminal. Well, why can't you call him a war criminal? He is. He is. This is a genocide. I understand that, like, we don't want to go by the international court. I understand that in America, we don't want to go by that because we keep voting to help Israel and we keep voting to do that. But they literally, he is a war criminal. This is a genocide. And the simple fact, and she explained this so well, like, I could not do this because I think I would lose my shit on him. So like she is so good at like describing this and trying to like genuinely explain to him why people are frustrated with this. Because to me, how can I trust? Because like we don't know what he said to Netanyahu. He's like, oh yeah, we looked him in the eye and said these things. Like, how do I know that? You can't even call him a war criminal. You can't even call this a genocide. So what, like, how am I supposed to trust you? How am I supposed to trust that you went in there guns a-blazing to try to get humanitarian aid? Like, to me, that just doesn't seem plausible. Like, how am I supposed to trust that when you can't even call, never mind genocide, you can't even call him a war criminal. You can't even call him a war criminal. Like, it's just abhorrent. It's abhorrent. But she does a really good job of trying to sincerely explain why people are so upset. But look at his face. Look at his face. He's like, oh, you brought him so wrong.
Through this like prism, and then we can't ever get like the answer to yes or no conversations like you do with Bernie and others. And that's the frustration for the Democratic base. Do I think Netanyahu is worse than Trump?
Yes. Do I think that we right now in America should be doing everything possible to bring peace, not just to that crisis, but to the ones that shock me that no one talks about? And I hope, and I don't know if you guys have or not, but crises like Sudan, where there are American weapons literally causing horrific, in fact, by double, triple, quadruple, it's the biggest humanitarian crisis that we're not talking about as a country. When I was coming up, everybody was talking about Darfur. Now the moral silence is outrageous when American weapons are being used in that conflict.
And the same with Israel. I mean, our weapons, and even Democratic politicians signed them before they were sent over to kill kids. This is, I really feel like if we get through this fascism, we have to have conversations like this, Senator. I think
but you're right. Where you're right is the Democratic Party. As a Black guy in America, there are so many things we don't talk about that we need to have an honest conversation about. You're right. I work in a place that corruption has been accepted. Why are people taking corporate PAC money? Why are people trading stocks? I hold myself to the standard of what I want to see other elected officials. If I was a guy in Newark that I talk to about that don't believe their politicians stand and fight for them. And so I agree with you that there are real corruptions that we tolerate that we need to do something about. Campaign finance is one of the things. This is why I do not take certain money from everything from oil company C-suite folks to pharma company C-suite folks. These are all things.
I thought he did, but I thought he did, but it's interesting, but like AIPAC is okay. Like that's just an interesting line to have, that you're like, I'm not going to take corporate PAC money, but I'll take AIPAC money. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like it doesn't make any sense to me at all. And he never answers these questions. He just continues to talk around it, and he's not answering these questions. He keeps deflecting, and it's very frustrating. And I think that a lot of these Democrats, like Cory Booker, I think he's actually been on this show before, and there are a lot of Democrats who were like previously interviewed on the I've Had It podcast before the election, and it was a lot more like fun and lighthearted and whatever. But then since the election, and since the Democrats not really fighting and capitulating and all this kind of stuff, I feel like the I've Had It ladies have been going hard on them. And now when they come on that podcast, they're surprised, and they don't realize that, like, no, we're gonna push back on you, and we're gonna make sure that you are held accountable for these things. And he doesn't want to hear it. Like he doesn't want to hear it at all. It's actually amazing. But there is a all right, so I was going to say this is the clip that's kind of been going viral right now. I don't think we got to that part yet.
Do you think he's a war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu? Do you think he's a war criminal?
Again, these are questions that a lot of people think are the important litmus tests that are loaded and hot.
Okay, we did get to this one. But there was a part where he said, I don't like Benjamin Netanyahu, but I do think that... Do I think Benjamin Netanyahu is worse than Trump? Yes. And that wasn't the question. The question was, are you a war criminal? And then he says, well, do I think Benjamin Netanyahu is worse than Trump? Yes. That wasn't the question. And I'm not really sure what we're supposed to gain from that answer. We'll see if they have it in here. Here, let's watch this little clip.
Do you think he's a war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu? Do you think he's a war criminal?
Again, these are questions that a lot of people think are the important litmus tests that are loaded and hot. My urgency is to be an effective leader in bringing an end to this crisis. And I get these questions all the time that, to me, undermine my urgency. And
I think the thing that Democrats get so frustrated with, where we are right now, where you see like the Zoran Mamdani's.
Okay, yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, but they go through this like prism, and then we can't ever get.
Do I think Netanyahu is worse than Trump? Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, we'll watch that part again. They must have, because that's later in the pod, I think. Okay, here we go.
Answer to yes or no conversations like you do with Bernie and others, and that's the frustration for the Democratic.
Do I think Netanyahu is worse than Trump? Yes.
Like, I just don't understand what we're supposed to gain from that answer. I don't, like, what does that do? That doesn't do anything. Okay. I mean, okay. Like, and we are aiding him. We are giving him money. We are giving him weapons. So if you think he's bad, why are you know he's bad, and you know this is a problem because you hid in the photo. So that's the other thing. Like, people can see right through this bullshit because You hid in the photo. So you know for a fact that your actions are wrong, and you know what you're saying is wrong, and that you standing up for Israel is wrong, and being like, why are they getting, like, why is everyone picking on Israel? You know that's wrong. Because when he had that meeting with Netanyahu, when Congress had that meeting with Netanyahu, he hid in the background of the photo. If you're gonna rep Israel, then rep it. If you're gonna sit here and say, oh, I met with Benjamin Netanyahu and I told him how important it was to get humanitarian aid in, then why not be proud that you met with him? Then why not be in that picture? Why hide yourself? It's bullshit. It's bullshit. This is what Mehdi Hassan's take was. Not only is Jennifer Welch awesome, but what an indictment of our mainstream media and political press that it takes non-traditional journalist podcasters to ask these simple and direct questions of our electeds. Yes, exactly. 100%. 100%. The next thing that I want to talk about is Graham Plattner and his new opponent, because again, this whole theme of this episode is Democrats have learned nothing and they need to wake up. Okay, but I'm gonna read the chat here for a second. Where is Tulsi Gabbard? That is a great question. That's actually a great question, because I feel like I ask this all the time. I'm like, where's Dan Bongino? He seems to have just disappeared. I don't know where he is, but yes, where's Dan Bongino? Where's Tulsi Gabbard? I don't know. This guy is so full of hot hair. Yeah, he does need to change his behavior. Oh, there's a part where he gets asked about Netanyahu, then he says, what about Obama? Oh, I skipped that part. I hate that part. And apparently, like, the majority report earlier went over it. They literally, like, when Obama was president, he voted I think he voted for those weapons, like, to go to Saudi Arabia. And so he voted against it when Trump was there, but then he voted for it when Obama was there. And so his whole deflection doesn't even make any sense, because, like, his whole deflection doesn't even make any sense because you voted for it back then. So what are you saying? He's like, oh, well, Obama drone striked people. I don't hear anybody talking about that. Yes. People still talk about it. Actually, a lot of people still talk about it consistently. But then when people talk about that, the same people who are like, oh, what about Obama? like the same people who would support Cory Booker or be like, oh, what about Obama? Are the same people who would get mad at you for bringing that up about Obama. Are the same people who get mad at you for bringing up anything that, like, Obama did bad, or anything that Biden did bad, or anything that Kamala Harris did bad. Like, you can't have it both ways. Either you're going to criticize all politicians and you're going to hold all of these politicians to account, or you're just going to sit here and just be like blue MAGA and just let them do whatever they want, which we need to stop. Okay. All right. So we have another really great progressive politician running in Maine, and his name is Graham Plattner, and he is, like, super progressive. I know there's a lot of people who are skeptical about him because he was in the military, and I understand that, but to me, he seems like a very, very good candidate. He is very progressive. Let's see, his campaign. Okay, so we're going to watch his campaign video, which is really good, but he's been running for a little while now. He's been on the majority report. He's talked to a lot of people, and he's a great candidate. A lot of people have, like Jennifer Welch did in that interview. She compared him to Zoran, and he is definitely, like, someone that everyone's been watching and hoping to win. Just like Zoran, just like Zohran, because we live in hell, the Democrats have not wanted to get behind him. And now, I believe she is 77, Janet Mills, the governor of Maine, is now going to run against him. So let's watch. I'm very mad. Again, the Democrats have learned absolutely nothing. There's so much momentum around Graham Plattner, and yet they want to now they want to now bring someone in that is 77 years old who has no, like, she should not be running again. And she's like, oh, well, I'll only stay for one term. Don't worry. Yeah, man, you're 77. What do you mean? I'm only going to stay for one term. This needs to stop. This really needs to stop. This geriatric thing needs to stop. Okay. So let's watch this. No, Riz, are you talking about Cory Booker? I'm not sure who you're talking about, or Janet Mills. Okay.
What I love most about Maine are the people.
I
have never met people who are more hard scrabble, even in a place that requires you to work like 2 or 3 different jobs. We have watched this state become essentially unlivable for working class people, and it makes me deeply angry. My name is Graham Plattner, and I'm running for U.S. Senate in Maine to defeat Susan Collins. A decade of military service going overseas, farming oysters to feed my community, diving to lend a hand to other fishermen, trying to start a family. But everywhere I've gone, it seems like the fabric of what holds us together is being ripped apart by billionaires and corrupt politicians, profiting off of destroying our environment, driving our families into poverty, and crushing the middle class. I did 4 infantry tours in the Marine Corps and the Army. I'm not afraid to name an enemy, and the enemy is the oligarchy. It's the billionaires who pay for it, and the politicians who sell us out. And yeah, that means politicians like Susan Collins.
Yes.
I'm not fooled by this fake charade of Collins' deliberations and moderation.
Yeah, she sucks. Susan Collins sucks. And what I like about this is he's right. He's not afraid to call out and be like, it is the LOL both, yeah. It is the billionaires. It is the oligarchs. Like, he is calling it out, and I really like that. And that's why I think it's a problem that, Democrats, like, having Janet Mills run, which is utterly ridiculous. But it seems like, and I think it's very obvious to the base, that anybody who specifically wants to call out corruption and specifically wants to call out billionaires and wants to call out capitalism, they seem to not want to promote. They seem to not want to support. And so I think honestly, like I think the Democrats are just making themselves into dinosaurs and just honestly making themselves almost obsolete, because at a certain point, like, when now the people who are not getting endorsed by the Democratic Party, now the people who are not getting endorsed by the Democratic leaders are the ones who are doing really well, are actually the ones, like the outliers. They're the ones who are doing very well. They're the ones people want, because there's a pattern now of these people who are running, who are anti-oligarch, anti-billionaire, and are for the working class, and explicitly say that, and are not afraid to say the truth and to say the problems. And every single time someone like that pops up, the Democrats want to smash them. They want to stomp on them and stomp them out of the party. And they keep doing that, but I just don't think it's working. I think the more they do it, the more popular these kinds of candidates are going to become, and the more they're just going to become obsolete. And so they're ruining they're ruining like their own party. Like it's coming from like they're ruining themselves, which is interesting, but it's very frustrating. Because to me, he seems like a very good candidate, and I know there's some, I know there's some skepticism, but like, I do think he's a really good candidate, and I do think he's a million times better than Susan Collins and Janet Mills.
The difference between Susan Collins and Ted Cruz is at least Ted Cruz is honest about selling us out and not giving a damn. People know that the system is screwing them. They know it in their bones. Nobody I know around here can afford a house. Healthcare is a disaster. Hospitals are closing. We have watched all of that get ripped away from us, and everyone's just trying to keep it all together. Why can't we have universal health care like every other first world country? Why can't we take care of our veterans when they come home? Why are we funding endless wars and bombing children? Why are CEOs more powerful than unions? We fought 3 different wars since the last time we raised the minimum wage. I'm not pretending to have all the answers, but I know that I'm asking the right questions.
That's a good call out. I like that call out of like, we've had 3 wars, but the minimum wage hasn't been raised. I really that was smart. Like, I really like that call out. That was good.
When I tell people around here that I'm running for Senate, sometimes the initial reaction is, what the but when I tell them why I'm doing it, because I truly do believe that we can build a system that is going to represent working people, the #1 response has been, well, thank God somebody's gonna do it. You're supposed to fight for the things you love. This is our home, and I will fight tirelessly for it, for you. It's Mainers first, and Maine always.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay. So this is his challenger.
Major.
Okay. So this video, he launched his campaign, I think a few months ago, right? And so it was, he is running against Susan Collins. He has gotten so much momentum. I feel like he's been doing really great. And actually, I think the UAW just endorsed him. I know there are other groups that have endorsed him, but Emily's List actually endorsed Janet Mills. And the funny thing is all of the comments were calling them out, being like, are you kidding me? This is insane. Why are you endorsing her? So I don't know why they chose to run her against him. I'm not sure what they're thinking. I mean, of course, they're thinking like they were thinking with Zoran. They don't want people who are going to challenge the status quo. They don't want people who are going to challenge the corruption and the money that they get from all these lobbyists and from all these corporate PACs. They don't want that challenged, and so they're going to try to stomp out people like Zoran and people like Graham Plattner. And so now Governor Mills of Maine is going to run against him and Susan Collins in the Senate. She is 77. She is 77. Okay, and I'm not trying to be like ageist or anything, but dude, like this needs to stop. This needs to stop. I don't even know how many Democratic Congress people have died in Congress this year, but it's more than 2. I believe it's more than 2. So why are we doing this? Like, what are we doing? This is ridiculous. And this is how I know that they've learned nothing, because they're worried about themselves, and they're worried about their own careers, and they're not worried about the actual fascism that is right here, right now. They're not worried about that. They're still thinking that, oh, it's my time to do this. It's my time. I was here first. Instead of actually giving a fuck about what is happening right here, right now. Okay, so this is her announcing her. I think this is her that's running against him.
Developing news in the world of Maine politics. The Associated Press is reporting that Maine Governor Janet Mills is preparing to announce her run for the U.S. Senate seat held by Republican Susan Collins. The AP says they have been told this by 2 people familiar with the governor's plan. Mills is term limited as governor. National Democrats see Senator Collins' seat as winnable. The AP says Senator Chuck Schumer, the minority leader from New York State, urged Mills to run. Mills and
of course he did. It's always the usual suspects. It's always the usual suspects. Chuck Schumer. Oh my God, it's always the usual suspects.
Collins are the most well-known members of their respective parties in the state. Mills entering the race also adds a wrinkle to the Democratic primary, which is already a crowded field featuring politicians and business people and the quickly rising Graham Plattner, who's already drawing large crowds and has raised $4 million as of this week.
What I love most about Man of the People.
Okay. So yeah, so I again, of course it's the typical people, Chuck Schumer, that are pushing her to run. And I think someone even asked her like why she's running, and she said that it's her time. And I feel like, and that's why I got so mad, because I feel like a lot of Democrats keep thinking this. That's why Jerry Connolly, Jerry Connolly was like the head of that one committee. And then, you know, it was sad, but he passed away. But like, while that is a sad thing to happen, him passing away, he had cancer when they gave him that position. So like, why are we still going by these rules of, oh, it's my time. It's my time. It's my trajectory. That is so selfish. Like, we literally, again, we are like I don't even want to say we're staring in the face of fascism, because this is fascism. We're in it. We're in it. That's what this is. And so to continue to have these selfish aspirations as if like it's my time to be senator. It's my next step. Who cares? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Our collective, our collective humanity and rights and well-being should be above you. It's your time to be senator. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And that's why people, and you know, piggybacking off of Jennifer Welch and her interview with Cory Booker, that's why people are so frustrated with the Democrats, and that's why their rating is so low, because the small amounts of people who are actually fighting, they just want to cut down time and time again, and people are so sick of this shit. They're just sick of this shit. And I saw someone on Threads earlier say if you don't live in that primary area, like if you, like, they didn't say where, but I figured it was Maine. They were like, if you don't live there, then you shouldn't have an opinion on the Democratic primary there. If you don't live there, you shouldn't have an opinion. And I think that's bullshit. And I looked at their page, and of course they were like a Democratic influencer. That's bullshit. They're running for Senate. I'm sorry. That affects all of us. The Senate affects all of us, not just that area that they're running in. Also, I think that we need to have, like, the Republicans, what they did to gain this power, they've had this plan forever, and they've been planning this forever. But things that they did to gain this power is to get everyone involved at the local level, and to get all of these different conservative seats in school boards, aldermen, and city councils, all these different places. That is what they did. And do you know what they didn't do? They didn't say, oh, well, you're in that state, so you shouldn't have an opinion. No, that's not what they did. They got people together. They got people to support these local elections. And that's how they got all of these people into these school boards and started having so much power in the states and locally. That is what they did. That is what they did. And the only reason that person made that, said that, is because they're just mad that people didn't want to be with Janet Mills. They're just mad because people wanted a Graham Plattner. And this person, I was looking at their page, and it seemed like they were always repping for the Democrats. And I've been getting increasingly frustrated over these past few days, because, you know, the opposition party is not being an opposition party. And there are still people who are like, well, we gotta defend Janet Mills, or you gotta stop protesting Democrats, or you gotta stop criticizing Democrats. And I'm sick of being told that, and I'm sick of being, I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it. They helped us get here. They helped us get to this point. Their neoliberal policies helped us get here. So they do deserve to be protested. They do deserve some of the blame, and they do deserve to be criticized unless they change their actions. And obviously they haven't, and they're not, because running a 77-year-old governor when you have Graham Plattner, who is already very popular, is ridiculous. And so every day I'm just like, do they want to lose? Do they want to lose? Hakeem Jeffries is still not endorsing Zoran. Chuck Schumer still hasn't endorsed Zoran. Hakeem Jeffries is still being like, oh, I haven't really talked to him. Okay, then talk to him. You can't keep using this excuse. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's unfair. She might have been pretty good, but still. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. People are saying that she's good, and that's why, she has a better chance of winning. I don't think she has a better chance of winning. I think that's a ridiculous statement. I think even Republicans and even centrists are over having people who are... Listen, I get it. Bernie is a great senator, and he's very old, okay? And I understand that there are people who are older that still have their wits about them, all right? What's frustrating is a lot of people who are of this age or who are elderly, like Chuck Schumer or whatever, they are making decisions about a future that they are not going to be a part of, that they are not going to see, that they are not going to have to endure. But we will. And I think that a lot of them are stuck in the past of how to handle things and how to deal with the Republicans, and they don't know how to react in this moment. They don't know how to live up to this moment. And so we're stuck in a place where we have an opposition party that is still playing by the old rules and the old games and stomping out anyone who tries to break those rules. And it's just not while we're trying to fight against fascism. It's not going to work. Someone says, oh yeah, she'll be 83 after a full term. Yeah, and Annie Wu, she's great. She posted, she's like, yeah, you're saying that you're only gonna have one term because that's like biology. It's not like a promise. It's not like oh, that sounds great. Like that's not a plus. She's like, it's biology. You'll be like 83. Yeah, like, of course. But and the last time the last time a Democrat said that it was only going to be one term was Joe Biden. And look how that turned out. That didn't turn out very good, did it? That's what's so frustrating. It's like Democrats take their voters for granted just so much. And they're like, they're just like, you're gonna have to vote for me no matter what, and that's just what it is. And that's why I like people like Zoran and Graham Plattner who are fighting back. Biden told us he was only gonna have one term. No thanks. Exactly. I think Susan Collins has learned her lesson. Yeah. And doing well without party support. Yeah. And that's why I'm like, I think them not getting party support is actually a plus for them. Funny enough, I think the Democrats going against them and not endorsing them is actually a plus for them, because that's how much the base really hates leadership. I really think. But not the last thing we're going to talk about, but the last kind of thing we're going to talk about is the text messages that have been leaked from the Young Republicans in their group chat. And the reason I wanted to talk about this, well, we're going to talk about it because it's a big story, but the other reason I wanted to talk about this is because I feel like this is just an example of the Republicans having no shame and just completely breaking all of the rules and saying the quiet part out loud. And, the Democrats are still trying to play nice with people like this. So let's talk about the biggest story out right now, which is the Politico article about the recent leak. So this Political article says, I love Hitler, leaked messages, exposed young Republicans' racist chat. So this came out the other day. And of course, all the Republicans, all of the people who are in this chat are saying that they're just trying to it's a hit job. They're just trying to go after us and blah, blah, blah. But this is what they said. These are some of them. So everyone that votes no is going to a gas chamber. This one says, great, I love Hitler. This one says, I'm ready to watch people burn now. Boom, they're dead. Yeah. And they're saying a lot of things that I don't want to say. But, also this one, they're saying you're giving nationals too much credit and expecting a Jewish person to be honest. Yeah. And so, and how much you want to bet that guy's pro-Israel? So these are text messages that have been leaked from a group chat of the Young Republicans, and it's the Kansas Young Republican. Okay, so here, let's read this. So leaders of the Young Republican group throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. They referred to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about sexually assaulting their enemies and driving them to what is the I don't know. I don't know why I try to say something different, because YouTube always wants to. YouTube is always they they'll get you. But driving them to suicide, and lauded Republicans who they believed support slavery. So listen. This is not surprising to me whatsoever. I am not at all surprised that they said any of this. It's not surprising to me at all. And I think there are people who might be surprised, or who are like, this is disgusting, which people should be saying, this is disgusting, and it's horrific. But I'm not surprised. And I'm not surprised because this is who the Republican Party is. I feel like this is how they've always been. They just haven't. It's always been masked with dog whistles and with policy that they can hide behind and act like they're not being racist. They're just being conservative or fiscally conservative or whatever the hell. And they can hide behind these masks and these facades. And now I think since Trump, they have been able to take the mask off. And there are still some Republicans who are like, this is horrible. I don't want nothing to do with it. But people like J.D. Vance are actually defending it and are saying, he's essentially defending it. He's saying that they were just college kids in a group chat, and we need to stop getting mad at this and getting mad at the real problems. And that's why I think this is so insane, because Republicans can say whatever they want. They can say whatever they want. And one of the guys in this group text, he didn't text anything, but he was in the group text, is actually in the Trump administration. And the rest of these are political operatives. He keeps saying they're kids. No, they're 18 to 40. Just because it says young Republicans does not mean that they are kids. They are not kids, okay? They're not children, all right? They are old enough to understand what they're saying is wrong. And so let's read this one. Everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber, and everyone that endorsed but then votes for us is going to the gas chamber. When do we start bullying dude? We have a solid 3 people who can probably have the want to jump. If they vote for us, why would they be gassed? When do we bring that side out? I'm going to create some of the greatest physiological torture methods known to man. If they vote for us, why would they be gassed? We only want true believers. Can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic. And then those people laughed at that. And this person says, I'm ready to burn people now. And this person says, we got to pretend that we like them. Hey, come on in, take a nice shower, and boom, they're dead. So I think the most frustrating part about all of this is that right now, this administration is trying to point leftists and anyone on the left as Antifa or as terrorists. And they're saying that when we call them fascists, or if we allude to the Nazis, or put their policies parallel to the Nazis, because they're pretty damn similar, if we do that, then we're inciting violence, and we're causing political violence, and we're the ones who are heightening the rhetoric. And yet, when Republicans say things like, can we gas them? Can we put them in gas chambers? Or I'm ready to watch people burn now. That's just college kids having a group chat. That's just college kids having a group chat. That's what our vice president said. That's what our vice president said. So this is why I'm like, the Democrats need to be cutthroat. They need to be cutthroat. They need to stop with the niceties of this person was worked on me with this and was bipartisan with me on this, a couple years ago. So, whatever. No. We need to be full-fledged against this. We need to be cutthroat. We need to stop sitting here and mincing words and trying to be nice, because this is what they are saying. This is what they are saying. And this might be in a group chat, but we are getting dangerously close to this rhetoric out in the open in real life, in everyday life. Because Donald Trump is out here just killing people in Venezuela. He's just killing people in Venezuela. He's bombing all these boats. He's saying that they're drug traffickers, but there's no evidence of that. He just killed 6 more people the other day. They're murdering people. And then in their little Antifa conference, they said that they were going to treat Antifa the same way. So, that's why I think when Democrats are worried about the rhetoric, or they're worried about trying to be politically correct about not calling them fascists, or not calling Benjamin Netanyahu a war criminal, or not calling certain things because they're like, well, I don't want to call them a fascist. I don't want to say they're Nazis because that's too much. No, we need to start. No more. We need to be serious, and we need to call it out, and we need to call it for what it is, because this is what's happening. And they are coming out and they are saying it, and the vice president is defending this. And the policies, the vice president might not be saying, oh, we need to watch people burn, but the policies that they're enacting are. I have some videos of things that have happened recently with ICE, and I want to show these texts and be like, this is what they're saying behind closed doors, but it's like a parallel to what they're doing in the streets right now. This violence that they're talking about is the violence that they're enacting on cities right now. This is the end. This is the end that they want. This is the outcome that they want. And that's why J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are not going to sit here and condemn it, because this is the outcome they want. This is where this ends up. And so we're going to watch some videos of that right now. Okay. Sorry. I got upset and forgot what I was doing. Okay. So
talk about that dramatic clash today between.
So, yeah, those texts, I feel like, are how a lot of people in right-wing, like a lot of right-wing politicians, I think it's how a lot of them think. I think it's the end that a lot of them want. I think it's the outcome that they want. I know it's the outcome Stephen Miller wants. And people who are surprised haven't been paying attention, because the policies that they want and the policies that they are enacting are violent and have always been violent, and they just are not hiding it anymore. And this violent rhetoric that they have that comes from them is bearing out in our cities. And so this happened over the weekend. I believe it was over the weekend, and it was in Chicago. There was a car crash. So they said that someone crashed into them. ICE did, but I think there's a video and they crashed into someone else, I believe. And people were protesting them and getting upset because they're like, what the hell? And they started like gassing everyone. They took tear gas out and started gassing everyone, and arrested the people in the car that they hit. Well, not arrested them, but detained them. And it's just like, it's horrific. So let's watch this real quick.
ICE agents and a crowd of people in Chicago's East Side neighborhood.
It started with a pursuit, then a crash, and it resulted in a confrontation between federal agents and the crowd that gathered. At one point, tear gas was released on the people in the area. NBC5's JC Navarrete joined.
And it was right next to a school too. It's right next to a school. And see, they're doing this in very like suburban areas. Not that makes it any better, but they're doing this in areas where there's like schools and there's kids and there's other people around, and they are terrorizing. They are terrorizing these cities. They're terrorizing Chicago. Like, they're actually terrorizing Chicago. The videos coming out of Chicago are surreal. We're gonna watch another one after this, but
joining us live, he
finish.
spoke with witnesses tonight. JC.
Hey there, Allison, Stefan. You're absolutely right. This all started here with a chase. DHS confirming here that a Border Patrol operation here was targeting 2 people. That's when that chase happened and that crash really spiraling and creating some chaos here, sparking a showdown with neighbors.
He's not an immigrant. He was born and raised here.
Reaction erupting Tuesday night in the East Side neighborhood. Juanita Garnica telling NBC5 her 16-year-old son, Josiah Lee Williams, was arrested by Customs and Border Patrol. Williams was among a crowd that surrounded agents after the chase ended in this crash at 105th and Avenue N. DHS says agents were pursuing this red car, a white SUV following close behind, targeting 2 undocumented migrants. DHS says that car rammed their vehicle earlier in the morning, leading to the chase.
I don't think that's true.
Witnesses telling us that chase lasted nearly 30 minutes before agents performed a pit maneuver. The crowd quickly gathered, tensions flaring as neighbors confronted Border Patrol. One man, who asked us to call him Polly, admits someone in the crowd threw something.
Somebody threw a water bottle or something. It was something really minor. It wasn't even something crazy.
That's when this happened.
I know that the judge 2 weeks ago blocked them from using this. They're not supposed to use it. But
they're not supposed to use tear gas. They're not supposed to use tear gas. And if I'm not mistaken, I think JB Pritzker came out and said that he's looking into if he can arrest like ICE agents for stuff like this, because they use tear gas and they're not supposed to. I hope he does. I hope he does. I want him to. I want him to start arresting ICE agents. I think that's what needs to happen.
They just threw it at everybody, and all of us started running, and we were throwing up and puking and crying.
They threw gas on us, and then a couple times. And then after that, before they left, they did it again.
Tonight, family confirms a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old were taken into custody during the chaos. The city of Chicago now saying federal agents, not residents, fueled the escalation.
Yes. This type of escalation is what is going to cause harm. It's not the people of Chicago, but it's the federal agents. And to put everyone on alert over the next few days to just be careful.
DHS says the crowd turning hostile is what led agents to use crowd control measures.
Now, they were right next to a school. Again, they were right next to a school.
It is important to know that the Chicago Police Department is also speaking out here tonight. They tell us they were not a part of this operation. As a matter of fact, they came out here to the scene to attempt to de-escalate as things were starting to get out of hand. 13 CPD officers felt the effects here of that spray as well. Now, in the end, at the end of the day, 4 people were arrested by Border Patrol agents, including those original 2 that were in that red car.
Yeah, and like there are lots of images of police officers getting like feeling that too, feeling the effects of the tear gas. And honestly, like, well, I guess now they know what it feels like. But hopefully, I'm hoping that will maybe gear them to like start going against like the Border Patrol agents, or start going against ICE agents. I know that like J.B. Pritzker told them not to help them, but in a lot of the protests they have been instigating the crowd as well. And I hope maybe this will make them kind of be like, okay, we want them out of our cities too. Like, we want them to leave too. We don't want them here as well. So I'm hoping. This next video is insane. So they just like they just came into a Walgreens and started terrorizing people, which is insane.
Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! He's a citizen! He's a citizen!
He said, why are you running? Why are you running? I don't know, man. Because you guys keep going everywhere and terrorizing people. You were literally terrorizing people. There was someone on Instagram that posted a picture. They got a ticket. Because they did not have the right papers on them. That's why they don't want you to make the parallels between Nazi Germany, because they're doing the same thing. So they don't want you to make those parallels, because then you might see what's going on. Making those parallels is not inciting violence. It's not upping the violent rhetoric. It's seeing what's right in front of your face. The fact that they gave him a ticket for not having the right papers on him, this is seriously what's happening. People are going to have to start carrying their fucking birth certificate or social security number to prove that they're a citizen of this country now, which is insane. This is not okay. And it's wild because all of the conservatives who are sitting here and like I talked about this last time and I posted a video about it, and they're like, good, they should go get them. They should all go to jail. They should all do this. And it's funny because it's as if this is never they think this is never going to touch them. They think this is never going to affect them. They think this is never going to touch their communities. They think this is never going to affect their communities. And they are wrong. They are so wrong. When you have a militarized group in this country that are doing that have little to no training, that are getting little to no training because they're just mass hiring people, that at this point, if you're joining ICE, then you are racist and you want to do this and you want to be violent. And they're able to do anything they want without impunity. They can do whatever they want without impunity, which is why I think that governors should start arresting them. But they're doing whatever they want without impunity. When you have that kind of group that they're masked and you don't know who they are and they have no accountability, if you think that because just you're a conservative, that somehow they're not going to profile you, or they're not going to tackle you, or that they're not going to sit here and accuse you of not being a citizen, you're delusional. So delusional. They don't care. They don't care. Do you think they care if you're conservative? Do you think they're going to know that just by seeing you walking down the street? Do you think that they care? No. No, they don't care. And that's what's so wild to me is all of these conservatives who are going rah for this are eroding their own rights, are sitting here like cheering on losing their own rights. But this is disgusting. They're like, why are you running? I don't know, because you're terrorizing everyone, man. Because people don't like you. People don't want to be around you because you guys are terrifying. You're terrifying. And you come in here and you terrorize everyone every day. That's what you're doing. Of course they ran away from you.
Citizen! He's a citizen! That's my brother-in-law!
Get the fuck away from me! You don't know what's going on, so get the fuck back! Back up!
No, that's her brother and he's a citizen. No, she does know what's going on. You're just a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. You're a racist piece of shit who, because someone ran because they saw you, because they know you're a piece of shit and they know that you're a racist and they didn't want to be next to you because they figured you were going to do something like this. Now you're tackling him. And he's an American citizen and you don't even care. You don't care. You just saw a brown or black person and you said, here's my time. Here's my moment. Insane.
Get the fuck up! That's my brother-in-law.
Why was he running? Why was he running? I don't know. Because you are literally going around and terrorizing everyone. Why do you think people are running? Why do you think people know? Why do you think people don't like you? And that's the other part, is they're so on edge. They're so on edge because they know nobody wants them there and they know nobody likes them, that they are just going, they are just being so violent and using such violent tactics because they know people don't want them there and they know people don't like them. The crowd turning hostile. I know. I mean, it's just like, whew. It's just so it's so insane. It's so frustrating. But this is why I feel like bringing this all back to the Democrats, like, this is why they need to they need to stop trying to be nice. They need to actually push back, and they need to start getting real about the kind of repercussions that they're going to take. And it needs to be serious repercussions, like arresting ICE, like, I don't know, blue states not giving the tax dollars to the federal government, or I don't know, but they need to do something that is bigger and better than what they're doing right now. And something we're going to end on a little bit of a happier note, and that is going to be talking about Nancy Pelosi. So I'm not like a Nancy Pelosi fan, but she did do something quite hilarious today, and this is the energy I want. This is the energy I want from every Democrat, which is so funny because I hate her. I'm not a big fan of her. But this is the energy I think everyone needs to have right now. So there was a reporter from Mike Lindell TV following Nancy Pelosi and asking her questions about January 6th and why, the whole hoax of like she didn't call the National Guard and all this kind of stuff. That's not true. Donald Trump is the one who had to call the National Guard. He is the commander-in-chief, and they keep wanting to blame her, and it was not her fault. So listen, let's watch this video. It's quite hilarious. It's my favorite thing in the world right now.
The National Guard on January 6th.
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you. Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people...
Oh my God. My favorite part of that is being like, why are you coming up to me and asking me questions like you're a serious journalist? That was my favorite part because she is from Mike Lindell TV. And I think this is the energy we need to have because that is not a serious journalist. That is a talking point. It's not serious. So don't take it as serious. Just like George Stephanopoulos when he was like, no, I'm not going to talk to you. You're lying. This is not a left-wing rabbit hole. You're lying. Goodbye. This is the energy we need. Okay. We can't keep we can't take them seriously. We can't, like, these journalists, all these mainstream media people, you can't take them seriously. You can't take their word for it. You can't do this. This is the kind of pushback we need. If Mike Lindell TV is talking to you and asking you questions that are ridiculous because they aren't real journalists and they are ridiculous, then you're like, you're ridiculous. Where are you from? Mike Lindell. Do the Donald Trump. Where are you from? Mike Lindell TV? Oh, no, you're fake. No, shut up. I'm not talking to you anymore. Like, the same energy needs to happen. The same energy needs to happen. Okay. Well, that was the stream today. Wanted to end on that happy note. Thank you so much for everyone who stuck with me through the beginning. And I'm sorry for the chaotic beginning of the stream. But I always keep saying one day I'll get it together. One day I'll get it together. The other day, I was watching Hassan and he didn't put the video up for a couple minutes and I felt great. I was like, you know what? At least I'm not the only one that does stupid shit. At least I'm not the only one that does stupid shit. Also, I have a friend coming in town this weekend, and so I definitely won't be streaming at 7:30 Sunday, but we'll see. I'll put out a streaming schedule because I'm still going to stream someday, just probably not Sunday, because I have a friend who moved to Colorado that's coming in town, and so I'm going to hang out with them on Sunday, and I'm really excited. So yeah, sorry about that, but I do want to react to the debate that's going to happen tomorrow, and talk about the No Kings protest. So I'll find a day to stream, and then I'll find a day to stream, and then I'll let you guys know. But yes, Sunday will not be the normal stream because I will be hanging out with a friend. So yes, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching with me. Sorry for the chaos. I feel like it's just like expected now from me. I'm just like chaotic. Thank you. Sorry for the out of context chats. No, you're good. That's why I do need another monitor so I can like see everything that's going on. I've been thinking about that for a couple days now. Like, I really do need another monitor so I can like see the chats and react in real time. So, we're still working on stuff, still getting my shit together. But thank you all so much for watching and just like being here. I love you all so much. Also, thank you to all my members, Troy Roberto, Crystal Safira, and Creflo. Thank you all so much for supporting me. I really, really appreciate it. And yes, see you at the protest. Yes. I still have to make a sign. I think I'm going to make a sign on Friday night. But yes, you're the protest. And then thank you. I'm trying. And yes, thank you all so much for being here. I really do appreciate you all and love you all. And I will see you another night this week. I'm just not sure when yet. All right. Love you all. Goodbye.